Budgeting your money will make you financially free. Most people think that budgeting kills freedom and forces you to penny pinch your entire life. But in reality, budgeting is what gives you freedom, because once you control where your money goes, you can actually start building the life you want. Budgeting opens up so many freedoms in day-to-day life because it limits the stress of not knowing what you can and cannot afford. When you have a budget, you have the peace of mind of knowing that the important things in your life are already taken care of, and once your needs are covered, the things you want become a lot more enjoyable because you know you can actually afford them, as long as you're still hitting your saving and investing goals. This kind of mindset creates options and slowly gives you more and more financial freedom over time without forcing you to overly restrict yourself. Now, creating a good budget does take a little bit of time and research, but once you understand the basics, it becomes much easier to manage your money without constantly stressing about it. The first point I want to make is why most people hate budgeting. For most people, budgeting sounds like sacrificing your fun and limiting the things and experiences you enjoy. People online make it sound like you need to live in the smallest house possible, never spend any money, and cut out every little thing you enjoy just to build wealth. A lot of internet finance culture around budgeting and frugality only shows the extreme side of everything because that's what gets views. But the truth is, you don't have to become the most frugal person alive to improve your finances. There's actually a very simple way to save money, invest consistently, and still enjoy your life at the same time. The second point I'm going to make is about the coast fire method of budgeting and why my method that I'll explain later beats it. Coast fire is when someone saves and invests extremely aggressively for a short amount of time so that they can coast to an early retirement. The FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. A lot of finance content online pushes extreme ideas like cutting out every small expense, never buying anything unnecessary, or saving 70 to 90% of your income to retire early. I'm not saying that these are bad ideas. However, saving 90% of your income is just so out of touch for the majority of people nowadays. Also, people who live miserably those 15 to 20 years and retire at 40 most of the time aren't even guaranteed to be fully retired for the rest of their lives. It would be nice to not fully retire at 40, but to kind of step back from your job and say you work 2 to 3 days a week instead of the full 5-day 9 to 5 job. One guy I see a lot on YouTube is Bradley on a Budget. This guy loves making and saving money. This is the lifestyle for him. That is amazing, but for the majority of people, they just can't live like that. There's nothing wrong with not being able to live like him because everyone is different. I think the majority of beginners see these kinds of extremists in the coast fire niche and get scared away. I was once just learning about finances and budgeting, and if I saw these videos, I for sure would be second guessing what I'm getting myself into. If you were able to live that lifestyle, no matter how extreme, that is incredible, and you deserve all the applause. But for everyone else, it is okay to not save 50 to 80% of your income as long as you're moving towards your goals at some sort of pace. The third point I'm going to make is my solution, the 60-20-20 rule. When using the 60-20-20 rule, your budget is laid out into 3 sections. The first section is your needs, the second is your wants, the third is your saving and investing. Your needs section is 60%, and it should include things like your rent or mortgage, your utilities, food, gas, household items, toiletries, and debt payments. Your want section is your first 20%, and it includes anything that you don't budget for, such things like eating out, experiences, and personal items. Your saving and investing section is your other 20%, and in my opinion, depending on what you have saved already, should be mostly investments. Here's an example of my 60-20-20 budget with a $4,000 income per month. So as you can see, the needs gets filled out to 60%, which is $2,400. And the wants is 20% or $800. Saving is 20% $800. And I already have these listed out here. We got rent, groceries, gas, insurance, utilities, miscellaneous essentials. So let's say your rent is $1,200. Your groceries are $350. Gas is $150. Insurance is $200. Utilities is $150. And then miscellaneous essentials is just $350. And then for your wants, say you give yourself $250 to go eating out with, and you have $150 every month for entertainment. And then shopping, $200 a month. Hobbies, $200 a month. And then for your emergency fund, this is just what I'm doing right now. It could be any savings account. Let's say you do $300 there, prioritize that. Your Roth IRA has its own label in the savings and investing category because it's that important. Whenever you invest in a Roth IRA, you can take out of your principal at any time, but your interest can only be taken out with no penalty at 59.5. But it's tax-free growth where you don't have to pay income tax on it whenever you pull out of it whenever you retire. It's this important. And then emergency fund is important for a lot of people because majority of people in America cannot afford a $1,000 random expense, such as medical bills or anything like that. And then you have your regular brokerage investing, which is $200, which would be in things like dividend investing whenever you invest in that with your regular brokerage account, not in your Roth IRA. You can do it in there, but I recommend you go into a regular brokerage if you want that to be your income. Now, if you want your dividends to go back into it and reinvest it and make it grow, then I suggest doing it in the Roth IRA. And then as you can see, our leftover category is zero because we used all of our $2,400, $800, and $800, which adds up to $4,000. This is how you make a simple 60-20-20 budget. Now, as you know, not everybody has the exact same expenses as these, but you can adjust the numbers around 60-20-20 to fit however you can, as long as you're making yourself a budget. A budget is insanely important whenever it comes to personal finance, and you need to learn how to do it. On that note, go out and make your budgets according to your lifestyle and needs and learn from other creators too. I'm only 17, and if I can figure out a system that lets me save for the future without giving up my life right now, you can absolutely do it too. Remember, the goal shouldn't be to spend nothing, it should be to spend intentionally. I'll catch you guys in the next one.